Hello friends, James Stevenson here bringing you behind the paywall of the Wall Street Journal's article. Really, I should call it an expose on EV quick charging and why so many EV chargers are broken. Now, if you drive a Tesla, you're probably saying, what are you talking about? Tesla superchargers are never broken. No. The Wall Street Journal didn't visit any Tesla superchargers. Oh no. They drove a Rivian R1T to all the DC quick charging stations they could identify in Los Angeles, the greater Los Angeles area. And, well, you have to read it to believe it, which you can't do if you don't pay Wall Street Journal an exorbitant rent to be able to see their articles, unless you have connections who can get you behind the paywall, right, Loki? As I check in with my co-host Loki, he is curled up in bed having already consumed his breakfast this morning and catching a little shut-eye, or trying to. You can keep an eye on Loki in the Loki cam while I turn my attention to this tweet from Gabe Wilson that brought this article to my attention. He tagged the Wall Street Journal article, Joanna Stern, saying, "You discuss at length problems with EV charging networks and possible solutions. But these networks have had just as much time as Tesla to get this right, yet cannot seem to manage to create functional networks. And they achieved this remarkable performance at 2 to 5x the cost of Tesla. Why the workarounds? Why not just get a Tesla?" There's the thesis statement. You don't have to fool with Electrify America or EVgo stations if you just have a Tesla. Right, Loki? I'll make sure the Loki cam stays on his ears. Don't want to cut Loki's ears off. All right, so if you follow this link through, you'll get to the paywalled article. But through the magic of screenshots, I am able to take you behind the paywall, which I have illustrated with the golden path here around the brick paywall, asking you for your credentials to log in and view the rest of the article to get to this, this incredible prize that is this article. And I've left some links over here to that tweet and to this article, so you can find them if you want. So yeah, the headline is, "I visited over 120 EV chargers, 3 reasons why so many were broken. Our columnist's Los Angeles power struggle." You just have to put a dumb pun into these bullets. Featured out-of-order signs, payment errors, and connection problems. So there you go. Those are the 3 reasons why so many were broken. I mean, I guess an out-of-order sign isn't a reason why a charger is broken, but it is one of the reasons why the process of trying to recharge your Rivian R1T pickup is broken. Payment errors and connection problems, handshake problems mostly. So there's a video that you can watch. I'm not going to play it for you here. I think the video you can see even if you don't have the Wall Street Journal login, but I'll read you the rest of the article here. As I click in the right window to hit my down arrow. There we go. So Joanna Stern says, "New world record most patient EV driver. Details of achievement over the course of 48 hours with few naps or bathroom breaks." That's funny. Joanna Stern examined more than 120 non-Tesla EV fast charging stalls across Los Angeles. So not 120 stations, but kind of inflating that number a little bit to get yourself credit for every stall. Like, Tesla has some very large locations that have over 100 stalls, right? You wouldn't have to visit very many of those to have visited as many stalls as Joanna did. Battling out-of-order signs, payment issues, and bad handshakes. No, she didn't earn a Guinness World Record. I'm not going to read you the entire article. Obviously, it's something you can read if you want. You can pause this video as I go and read through it. But Joanna, I guess, decided that she wanted to own a Ford Mustang Mach-E. But for this article, she decided to drive a Rivian R1T around. All right. And I highlighted this little block here. The easy answer is to charge at home, something I'll tackle in a future column. So we're not going to talk about charging at home here. That is outside the scope of this study. Tesla owners would suggest buying a Tesla. Yes, Tesla owners would suggest buying a Tesla because its charging network is large and reliable. Too true. But for people like me who drive a different EV, our only choice is often to pull into a public charging station and pray. You're not doing a lot to sell non-Tesla EVs, Joanna Stern. Also, is that your only option? Like, if I woke up this morning and somehow, you know, through some Kafkaesque miracle, had a Mustang Mach-E in my garage instead of a Model 3, would I really have no choice but to pull into a charging network, pull into a public charging station and pray? I could sell the thing and buy a Tesla, couldn't I? I mean, if the thing that's the most important to you is the confidence that the quick charging you need to do will happen at the appointed time, I think you just want to drive a Tesla, right? That's the solution. Couldn't be easier. You hop in your Tesla, you tell it where you're going. It routes you to all of the most convenient superchargers along your route, no matter how far away you're driving. And then you usually plug in for about 20 minutes. They're in convenient locations. They're usually places that have nice restrooms nearby, usually restaurants, usually a place you can grab a coffee, walk your dog, etc., right? Stuff you were going to have to do no matter what. You just do it while your car is charging. So the first thing you do is plug in your Tesla to the supercharger. Then you do all that stuff, and then by the time you get back, which is probably going to be 20 minutes, you're above 80% state of charge, ready to go. You can make it to the next supercharger. Couldn't be simpler. Compare that against Joanna Stern's experience here. Encountering 3 problem categories, which we've discussed already. Out of order signs. So out of the 126 stalls Joanna inspected, 27% were out of order that had a sign, a dead screen, or an error reading charger unavailable or out of service. With some photos Joanna snapped here of what you might see if you try to stop at one of these public chargers to quick charge in Los Angeles. Or anywhere else, really. I mean, it's not that unusual what's happening in Los Angeles. If you talk to people about Electrify America or EVgo, they'll tell you half the chargers are out of order in their experience. They're supposed to be fixing stuff, but clearly they're not, right? So she talks to a few people whose job it is to fix these quick charger stations, and a lot of times their go-to first troubleshooting step is, for those of you who are fans of the IT crowd, you'll remember Roy's advice upon answering the phone. "Hello, IT, have you tried turning it off and on again?" That's what they do. They just flip it off and they flip it back on again and see if that does it. Or they flip the breaker off and back on again at the breaker box, and usually that fixes it. But, I mean, how are there so many that are out of order? I don't know. This is not a topic I spend a lot of time researching, let me tell you. So, payment rejected. There's another one. So, credit card readers on... This is hilarious. My favorite stop, number 18 in Culver City. After I repeatedly tried the credit card reader with several different cards, the system demanded cash only. As if this was some hot dog stand in the park. Except there's no money slot. That's very well written by Joanna Stern. I enjoyed that. And there it is, cash only. How am I supposed to give you cash? You're an unattended payment post attached to an EV charger. So funny. There is no cashier here to take your cash. Very funny. So that's another one you can read about if you want to pause the screen and read. Handshake failed. So maybe it took your payment, and maybe it's not out of order, but if the computer on your car and the computer in the charging station's computer can't agree on what your charging rate ought to be, it can time out and then make you start over. Like, that's frustrating. Like, I have never had this experience personally, so I have to live vicariously through the experiences of others, which I'm more than happy to do in the case of Electrify America. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Electrify America would never have existed except that a judge ordered that Volkswagen had to do it as their penalty for losing the Dieselgate lawsuits in the U.S. A failed handshake between an EV ghost stall and our rented Rivian R1T. Now, why would Joanna Stern rent a Rivian R1T instead of using her own Mustang Mach-E? I don't know, maybe she had range anxiety about her own vehicle and wanted one that she could quickly abandon if needed. That's me totally ascribing malice without any basis for it. But, you know, I can make stuff up just as easy as journalists can. They do it professionally. I do it for free, for your benefit, dear viewer. So she says she doesn't blame Rivian for the handshake problems because lots of people complain about handshake problems. And even if your car is receiving a firmware update, it could upset the delicate balance, said the expert who Joanna interviewed for this article. I boxed another section here where Tesla was mentioned so that I wouldn't forget to read to you. Meanwhile, people who drive Teslas typically report positive experiences at the car maker's extensive nationwide network. In 2024, when Tesla starts allowing Rivian, Ford, GM, and other car models to charge, there may be some relief. It's more than just these, like it's most EV manufacturers. Now, there's only a few holdouts left who haven't signed on to Tesla's North American charging standard and use of the supercharger network, at least in North America. And so, well, I guess I'll read you this. The company has begun adding credit card readers and support for CCS charging. In other locations, drivers will need a CCS to NACS adapter. All right, and then I put an oval around this one. Charging company executives I spoke to think the Tesla network will have trouble supporting different EV models. A Tesla spokesman declined to comment. All right, so since Tesla declined your comment for your article, you're just gonna say we think the most reliable company in terms of quick charging is going to suddenly forget how to successfully supercharge cars once a lot of other people start driving their EVs into superchargers? I don't know. I mean, this has been piloted for a long time in Europe. Tesla has a lot of experience successfully charging other companies' EVs. It may not be that fair to assume that there's going to be problems as soon as all these other EVs try to charge up at a Tesla supercharger. But Joanna is hopeful that with the new investments in machines, things will get better. For now, anyone planning to road trip with a non-Tesla EV is automatically a contender for world's most patient charger. Well, or you could just buy a Tesla. Right? Back to the thesis statement. Just buy a Tesla and don't have to worry about quick charger functionality anxiety. And man, you talk about range anxiety, that is a whole separate can of worms. Will there be functioning chargers when I get to the charging station? So what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Why are non-Tesla quick chargers often broken? As Gabe pointed out, Dr. Gabe said they've had just as long as Tesla has to figure out how to charge vehicles, and they're still not doing it reliably. Why is that? Will Tesla have difficulty charging non-Teslas? Do you think they will? If you're selling Tesla short, maybe you think they will. Is Tesla just a car company? That's a good one to always ask. And did Tesla owners get a fair shake in this article, right? So is owning a Tesla highly praised enough given the context of this article? And that's my video for today. So we'll check back in with Loki, who is curled up in bed, before I bid you a fond adieu and say, if you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to click the like button. That helps other people who would like to see this video find it and enjoy it as much as I'm sure you did. Or if you didn't, leave me a comment below letting me know how could I have done a better job. But you can subscribe to me for free if you're watching me on YouTube. I'll leave a link over here. But thank you to everyone who does support me on Patreon or on X or by joining my YouTube channel, as my executive producers Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com did. And I'll see you in the next one.